can I succinctly talk about what it is that I do, and whether I'm on my own or with other people in the woods. And I think there's so many levels to it, but ultimately it just comes down to finding a connection or reconnecting. And there's so many ways to do it, whether that's through bushcraft, whether that's through tracking. I don't think it matters anymore. I think what's important is the connection. I think is finding your place in the wilderness. I was thinking about this, doing some other stuff the other day, and if you look at the grand scheme of things, if you look at who we are as a species, it's taken us around 6 million years to get to this point now. If you sort of condense that 6 million years and put that whole timeline into the length of a book, so 6 million years, the bit that's important, the bit where we have adapted to the modern way of life, so sort of the Industrial Revolution till now, in the grand scheme of things, in that entire book, we would be the equivalent of, well, not even the last full stop at the end of the last sentence. And that strikes a chord with me, and it just makes me think that disconnection from all of those learning processes, all of that evolution, all of that adaptation can be almost forgotten about in a blimp, a matter of generations. I just don't think that mentally or physiologically we have adapted to a newer way of life. We're still designed, we're still adapted, we're still meant to be in this environment. And we call it a wild place now. This should feel like a second home to everybody, not just experts. I think that's what it is that I try and do, is I try and give people the tools so that they can feel comfortable in this environment. They can understand it and they can feel a part of it rather than apart from it. Hopefully some of the stuff that I talk about, whether it be from tracking perspective or bushcraft, gives people opportunities to change their ways and think about ways that they can adapt their lifestyles to involve this. And it's surprising how much of this then can come back to your day-to-day life. There's elements of tracking that I've talked about with teachers, city brokers, artists, that they can adapt to their own ways of life. Same in some of the elements of survival that we talk about. Whether that be the importance of a cup of tea in survival, to the way I approach my survival priorities. But there's so much that you could talk about, and that's kind of, hopefully, what we'll get to cover. Like that. Now where's my dog?